All right.
Have you guys ever done something that you guys overthought it so much, such as a speech, that you couldn't go through with it and it was quite difficult to understand? And you know you have like the intelligence, like you studied, you did it, but when it comes to that pressure point or that moment, it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I like, which is why I agree with Robert Byrne in this quote, when the going gets tough, the smart get lost. And I believe this to be true, like in the field of work, through school, and just in life in general. Like in work, I used to do an internship at Donovan Jeep Chrysler, and there was this guy, he was a master in all 5 categories, which is electronics, mechanics, and like all the, you have to be a master mechanic, you have to be a master in all 5 I forgot all the categories, but you get my point. And he had to do this job, which was remove the engine and put in a different one. And he's in his 60s, and he's having to do like a job which is supposed to be a job for like a 30-year-old. And he was under all this stress, and those times where he got to the point where he couldn't even do his own job, where I had to actually go in and like cover for him, because he got to the point where intelligence couldn't do what a task where up to like it required of 3 people. So that's where I had to go. I'm not saying I'm dumb, but I'm not experienced in that sort of field. And in school, like as I said before, like there's times where I've studied like constantly, like up to, I don't know, let's say 8 hours, and I couldn't get through. And like I studied 3 hours, and then once I get to the test, it's like I can't even get through it. And then I see this other guy to the side of me, which he said he only studied up to like 10 or 5 minutes. He just walks on out, and when it comes to the teacher passing out the grades in the next week, he ends up getting a higher grade than me. And I end up thinking to myself, wow, if I just relaxed, stayed calm, not stressed, I could have passed this test easily. Because I overthought it, I was overthinking something that could have been done so easily. And then through life in general, like I would say maybe like my brother. He's really smart, but when like he is really he gets into peer pressure too much, and like that could be a really tough thing for him. So like say like he has to pass his classes, but and not peer pressure, but he gets into pressure too much, and my mom wants him to pass the class, and he overthinks it. Like we have like him taking a test, he exaggerates too much about it, and then he ends up failing. And then where I don't even study at all, and we take the same test, and I end up passing it too at the same time. And overall, I just think like when the going gets tough, just take it easy, and usually experience and intelligence will pave its way. Oh, it's a souvenir?
Yeah.
I'm only in this for the money. Why didn't you do it? I already did that last time. People and asking me to trust this.
I'd rather go answer a question than talk about a quote. I think I know you.
I'm only in this for the money.
All right, Jesus, you've got a lot of things that you're doing really well. Let's start with those things, okay? Because I thought that you were very clear with in the opening what your point of view was on the quote. You had a preview about what you were going to talk about. On each of the points, you found something interesting to talk about and develop it. So you had something to say on each of those points, and you tried to make it as interesting as possible. I think that your voice projects pretty well most of the time. There are, however, a few times when your voice drops out, for instance, when you're anxious or nervous. I saw a little bit of it right at the beginning of the speech and also right at the end. When you watch back your video, see if you can pick up what I'm talking about, because that seems to be one of those indicators of anxiety. I thought it was paced really well. You go smoothly, you're very fluent while you're speaking, there aren't a lot of hesitations, you're moving from point to point effectively, so all of that is really solid. Couple of things, though, that jump out at me, and I think that you are going to notice quite a bit. You do not look at the audience, except maybe once in a while, recognize, oh yeah, they're there, and then you look up, but most of the time, you are talking to yourself in front of us. You're kind of internalizing your ideas and talking down a little bit and thinking, and once in a while your eyes come up a little bit, but not much, and you really need to engage the audience a little bit more. That's the most obvious thing in the presentation, and that's something that's pretty easy to fix. I also thought that you needed to maybe change the orientation of your body a little bit while you're talking to the audience. It wasn't quite as problematic as the eye contact, but a little bit there. Like I said, I think when you were in the body of the speech, you didn't seem nervous at all, except for the eye contact issue. Listening to you, it went smoothly. It's just kind of at the beginning, at the end, when you listen to your voice, that's where you're losing a little bit of control. And then you put that together with the lack of eye contact, and that seems to scream nervousness. But the content, I thought, was really nicely developed. Thank you.